Hi, boys and girls.
So it looks like Lexus is sending me a UX250h hybrid. I have the paperwork here. Let's see what we've got. Long list of standard goodies. Here's the second row. And as always, the option sheet to jack the price up. $1,660 for the LED headlights. Wow. Isn't that standard on Toyota? I'll have to check that out. And here is the total tab. Well, at least some good news for that price. This is totally made in Japan by Japanese workers with Japanese parts, which assures the high quality factor. I think that's worth a few bucks, don't you? The UX comes in a hybrid model or non-hybrid model, and here's the price spread, depending on how poor and rich you are. And here's the claimed fuel economy. Unlike other testers who just read stuff off paper, we're actually going to take this on the road and rack up a lot of miles and see what the real fuel economy is. That's why you're here, right? So let's roll this Lexus out and see what it looks like. Pretty decent looking vehicle. I like this metallic blue paint. Some people don't like the grille. I don't have a problem with it myself. Side view. And pretty decent looking from the rear. And the Toyota Lexus company wisely left California and moved to Texas, which is where they shipped it from. The standard UX has a 2-liter engine putting out 169 horsepower, rate 29 to 37 mpg. This hybrid is rated at 41 to 30 mpg with an average of 39. Horsepower is a bit more at 181, connected to a CVT transmission. This is classified as a 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. All 4 wheels are running. Provide better traction. You get the standard UX with the other engine, the 169 horsepower, comes in 2-wheel drive only. And one of the first things we do when we get a vehicle is to check and see if there's a spare tire. Nope, not here. You get a flat, better have AAA. As I mentioned earlier, these headlights are $1,600 extra, so we'll be taking these out in the dark and see if they're worth the dough. That'll be part 3 of the video. Let's take a look at the cabin, and I see the doors come all the way down, so the rocker panels stay nice and clean. Thank you, Lexus. Even though our government classifies this as a 5-passenger, I can't see fitting more than 4 in here. Kind of cramped in the rear, too. Maybe 3 kids, 3 monkeys. One thing I've always despised about these modern Lexus cars, I did away with the controller stick and went to a push button for the Infotainment Controls. Very awkward to use. When you're sitting still, maybe you're doing 70 miles per hour, it just doesn't work very well. And here's the info screen. Kind of hard to see because I have a bit of glare going on at the moment. And you run your finger along, and this is how it works. There is a learning curve involved here. A well-designed gauge cluster, but once again we have that typical Toyota Lexus reflection off the plastic cover, which seems to be a trait with their vehicles. Not a deal breaker, just annoying. And I see we have a heads-up display. Reasonably bright. The glove box is large enough you could take out all the owner's books and put them in the back somewhere where the spare tire ought to be. Then you'll have room in here. And it appears the auto-dimming mirror has a disconnect switch. We'll find out when we take this out in the dark. There's nothing worse than an auto-dimming mirror that does not have an off switch. I do not want to be driving in city traffic with a blacked out mirror for reasons I'll explain later. The sun visors do slide back and forth to assist in blocking out the sun, although not all the way back, but I think it will do. And we have a control here for normal, eco, or sport driving. And someone had this vehicle before me driving and city commuting and got 39.6 mpg. It said 41 on the clock here when I first got the vehicle. We're going to take this out on a highway trip, see what we get on expressway driving. And by the way, just below the finger touch pad are all the controls for the radio, all clustered together in a very convenient location. Pretty good idea. They should be doing this on other vehicles. And the shifter is a conventional knob on a stick. Part 1 of the video is over. Part 2, we're going to do some driving. The power steering, very nice, good feel, good feedback, quick enough. Feels hydraulic, even though it's electric. Lexus is one of the first companies to make electric power steering feel like hydraulic. They did a very, very good job. Definitely beat the Germans to the table on this. So to get the ride quality, let's take some speed humps at 15 to 20 miles per hour. Here comes bump number 1. A bit of thumping from the tires, but smooth enough. Number 2. One more, now the nasty big one. Yeah, I felt that one, but probably going a little bit faster than we should have been. Overall, this is a pretty smooth car, especially on the street. It really doesn't matter which UX you get, the hybrid, non-hybrid, both are painfully slow, even in the sport mode. I don't think you're going to win any drag races with the UX. At least the brakes are decent when you have to stop. Even though this vehicle is not very quick, it's still comfortable to drive in daily commuting. Okay, let's take a highway trip. Reset this to 0. This Lexus is very comfortable on the highway. Smooth and quiet. However, in regards to the tires, even though they're inflated to proper pressures, they feel like underinflated marshmallows, which causes a bit of wandering around at highway speeds. Should I use the word mushy? And I can tell that this is the tires, it's not the suspension. I suspect these tires are specifically designed for hybrids. Alright, that was 112 miles. Let's pull over and see what our economy ended up being on the magic computer. Well, I was getting 30 mpg, but I had to do a lot of passing because there were a lot of slow pokes and road hogs on the road. So 35.7 or 38, take your pick. Both legit numbers. Well, looks like I'm going to have to take another highway test. Have some business out of town, so it'll be another 120 miles on the clock. And another MPG test for you. So by cutting the speed down and doing less passing, we managed 41.4 mpg. Can't complain about that. So what's my take on this Lexus after a week of driving? You know, I don't really have any serious complaints. It's a very nice vehicle. I liked it. As far as value for the money, I don't know, 44 grand's a lot of dough. There are a lot of hybrids in the Toyota line that offer a bit more for less, but then if you wanted a Toyota, you wouldn't be watching this Lexus video, right? Alright, it's dark enough. Let's check out these expensive lights. $1,660 extra. And here's what the taillights look like. They're very wide, straight across. The emergency flashers, not very big. Got them on the mirror. Not very big on the front either. Yeah, now with the headlights off are easier to see, obviously. Now definitely easier to see with the taillights off. Put it in reverse and here's what you see. Not the largest screen I've ever seen, but this isn't a large car, so what can I say? Nice clock. And the heads-up display is very bright in the daytime, so not surprising it's bright at night. And here's your finger touch controls, radio controls. Everything lights up in here. These headlights are self-leveling, and right now we're on even ground. The height, should be above the bushes, but certainly bright. This is 33 yards away. Go to high beam. Definitely strong here. The long range of the low beams, well, isn't really long range. Look how it cuts off halfway down to my intended target. That yellow spot down there. But if you put the brights on, it definitely solves the problem. And by the way, these headlights do turn the same direction as the steering wheel. The technical term is active headlights, which comes in handy when you're taking corners, like so. Works even better when you're on tight mountain roads, but we're not going to be doing that tonight. And let's see, what is that? Oh, we're going to have a full moon tonight. That's not a good sign in this part of town. All kinds of strange creatures are going to be wandering around. And when you turn the steering wheel in parking lots, you get side cornering lights, so you don't run over the winos taking a nap there. And the system does have an automatic feature that turns your high beams on, low beams on, depending on the traffic it senses, and I don't like that, so I'm going to put it on manual. I know when to put my brights on and when not to. I know how to drive. The auto dimming mirrors have a disconnect switch, which is great because if you're driving in heavy city traffic, the last thing you want is darkened out mirrors, especially if you're looking for your traffic on the left and right, like bicycles and motorcycles and pedestrians. Plus the traffic cops. Can't see them if this is on. Not that I'd be driving illegally, of course. And here's the navigation action. Wide enough. And for getting on the freeway, these high beams work great. Lighting up every sign on the road, even about a half mile away. Okay, I screwed up that camera shot. Let's try it again. Brights on. Brights off. And if you drive down dark, dingy streets, where there could be a lot of kids out here wandering around, or drunk idiots, these high beams will work just fine. So what do I think about these headlights after my night drive? Well, they're definitely excellent. There's no doubt about that. Are they worth $1,660 more? Well, that's something you'll have to decide for yourself. You can afford the Lexus, you can afford the extra cost for the lights, I guess.